Hi, I'm Janet Foster. State your name.
I'm Greg Foster.
I was born in Buffalo, and I started attending Yates by invitation of my neighbor, Norm Atwater. I was attending another church, and he invited me to Yates, and I went once and have never left.
Oh, I was born in Hornell, New York, and I kind of got married into the going to church, but it wasn't a bad thing.
18 and a half years.
And I've attended 2 years.
I think it's the not compromise way that the gospel is preached. It's not watered down. It's not made socially acceptable. It's the truth, and it's been the truth since I was a child, and my grandchildren are still hearing the same truth today. I think that's important.
The friendliness of the church was very big to me. I'd been to a lot of churches through my life, and friendliness means a lot, and the biblical teaching, and it's taught from the Bible, not stories of everything else.
I think that the ladies' Sunday school class is been the most beneficial to me. It's not, right now there's a contemporary song that goes, yeah, I'm fine, yes, I'm fine, but I'm not, I'm broken. And I think that in our class, you can be honest. You don't have to be, sit there like you're Susie Saint and you give all the correct answers and everything. You can be honest. I think that seeing other people's relationships and problems makes you realize that you're part of a sisterhood in the class and a church at large. And I just think seeing other people praying for me through things I've been through and my praying through them, their problems and issues has definitely been a benefit to me, made me stronger.
There's two things, and they're just classes kind of thing. Well, not class, but the men's prayer breakfast. When men get together and it's just men and we can talk, we can pray for each other. And Thursday night disciple class too. And that's helped me a lot. With men getting together, and it's just a bonding there between men.
Two special memories. One was the last ladies retreat. It was nice just to get together with the ladies on a very informal, hear their stories, and just have a lot of fun. The one thing that I really benefited from, I think, is we had a rock, and we had to write our problems, concerns, fears, whatever you wanted on the rock, and then you took it to the edge of the lake because it was down by Lake Ontario. Give it to the Lord, throw the rock in the lake, and walk away. And the things that I threw on that rock and threw away, I threw away. And I that was a good memory. The other memory was, it'll be 2 years and 1 week, marrying this guy.
Sorry, sometimes I get emotional, but a man that's really been close is Ray Feller. He's helped me through doing constructions, taught me things. Even through pain, he continues. Even though he's in pain, he still's there to help me, and he's just a good friend. And that's the most things I can say. Oh yes, I married her too.
Good one. No, I just think it's a friendly, open, welcoming church. You don't have to be perfect. My kids can come and my grandkids come, and it's just it's a good family church, and it's been a blessing to us.
Because my face has broken too many cameras. I was in Detroit, and then I met this wonderful young guy, and he said, "Why don't you come back?" And so I did. And Yates Baptist was the one, I guess my father had to be a Baptist, name and, And so he said, "I found a church for you, Yates Baptist." Well, ever since I've been here, ever since then, I joined the church when they broke my arm. No, I'm kidding. I did because when I went to Yates Baptist, the people were so friendly back there. They didn't know me, but they wanted to know me. It was easy for me to join. They said, "You want to join the church, then you can, And I said, yeah, I had no problem because of the friendliness, Well, I think that I appreciated that you felt welcome, I've gone to different churches and I would go a few weeks and I'd say, "My gosh, I don't know anybody." Nobody introduced themselves. But Yates Baptist was very friendly. And so that would be my main thing. Well, I think because of the friendliness of the people, because I didn't want to, I've visited churches that were, nobody talked to you at all, and I'd think in my head, I don't want to ever come here and join a church, but they were very friendly, and still didn't push me, to join right away.
Do you remember who the new?
Well, I remember, asking, or they asked different ones through the congregation, and what do you enjoy here? Now, it was easy for me to stand up and say the friendliness, because I don't care how religious you are, if you're not friendly, you will not be, joined in. But they were friendly and spoke of God. God was their savior, there a while.
Would you say?
Why, Mary Jane and Mike were there. Mike played his, so I knew them, not real close, but I knew them. I'd had them up for, different ones when I liked them. I mean, when they were friendly. I like everybody, but I mean, they were friendly. Bring them back and have them for lunch. And I did that with Mike and Mary Jane and Dick and Colleen. And so I felt right at home.
Want to add?
And then I met, you guys. Right, Wilma, yeah. And yes, and you were very friendly. And I thought, now this is the way a church should be. I mean, have somebody there that's going to be friendly and, and not walk in and nobody even says, "Who are you?" But no, Yates is a very friendly church. Oh, I want to hear God's word. I want to hear that, to know that once I've been there for an hour, I mean, it seemed like a few minutes because the pastor was a very good pastor and preaching God's word. And that's what we go to church for, not to look how good looking we are, because I would fail.
My name is Elizabeth Carpenter. I was born in Buffalo, New York. I was born and raised all my life pretty much in the suburbs of Buffalo. I finally landed in Lindenville in my freshman year of high school, and I started attending Yates Baptist Church as a freshman.
Baptized there?
I went to the Buffalo Christian Center and became a Christian on April 27th, 1974. And I was a freshman, and I started attending Yates Baptist Church and was baptized that year in the Yates Baptist Church baptism. I attended those last years of high school, and I went to college. I moved away. I came back once I had a family, and I knew that I wanted them to have the upbringing that I had at Yates, and I came back to Lindenville in 1990. So that makes 32 more years. Yates Baptist Church has been my family. I have never had any family in Lindenville or around in the area in New York, so Yates Baptist Church became my family. Every time I have ever had a need, they have been there for me, whether it was financially or prayer or anything. They've always been there for me. And when Bill died, it was especially evident that they cared. And every time I had a need, whether it was food or company, or I never could have gotten through Bill's death without my church family. I started attending because of two people in high school, Dick Farwell, who was the guidance counselor, and Jim Feaster, who was my biology teacher. And they would pick me up. The Farwells would pick us up on our way to church, and Jim Feaster would ask me on Monday where I was if I didn't attend, so I was pretty regular. I had Evelina Breeze as a youth group leader. I remember going to youth group with her, and she was amazing. And Sally Hayton was my Sunday school teacher, and she was super amazing. Still is. Back in the 1970s, it was possible for you to talk about God in classroom, and Jim didn't have a problem doing that. Jim had scripture verses on his chalkboards every day. He would switch them out. A lot of times they were Proverbs, and I really appreciated that. In Lindenville, it's a small school, so you really get to know your teachers on a personal level, and he was very easy to get to know. He's an amazing man. You know, I couldn't imagine life without Yates Baptist Church. I plan on staying here until I die, unless I move away.
My name is Katherine Ball. I was born in Fall River, Massachusetts.
I was born in Batavia, New York, and went in the Navy, met Kathy, and then like Kathy said, 4 years later, got to Yates, and we enjoy being at Yates ever since.
We've been there for 11 years. Oh, just the fact that they've been so giving, it just moves me that we don't even have to ask for help if we need it. People make themselves available, and it just means so much to us to know that people are there to do that.
Yates, people at Yates act like a family, and they care about each other, and they show it. They're not afraid to show it at all.
Lord.
Well, I think they're, again, like Ken just said, they're so caring and compassionate. It makes me want to reach out in the same way. Well, I don't know if there's one in particular. I think so many people have displayed different spiritual gifts that they have.
Actually, there's two. We got involved with camping, and Barry Neal, we met him back in West Somerset, and he is a very devoted Christian, and also we met Orville and Alice Preston, and we enjoyed a friendship with them, I did a lot with them, and I think between the two of them, I think they made the most impression.
Well, I think for me, as I've said before, it's knowing that people are praying for us in different circumstances we've had, even though they don't know us as well as they might know someone else. But I think it's the idea of knowing that you're prayed for and cared for, and that you matter to them. And we always knew that Yates was there. I mean, as well as other churches in the area. And we had just never gone there. I can't even explain why. I don't know. And when we were going to different churches to see which one God would have us be at, Yates was the last one. And I remember we were late that morning, and the doors were closed to the sanctuary. And I remember saying to Ken, listen to that beautiful music. Well, now I know it was Lori Bosek playing the trumpet. And I still don't know. After the service, some lady asked if we were interested in staying for Sunday school. I couldn't even tell you who it was, but of course we did. And we've been there ever since.
I was born in Medina, New York, and my family attended Yates Baptist Church forever. And I was brought up in the church, and that would be 73 plus years ago. My dad was Roger, and my mother was Evelina Breeze. Their mother, or my dad's dad, went there, and my dad's grandfather started there. My great-grandfather was William Breeze, and my grandfather was Stanley Breeze. My father was Roger Breeze.
And I started attending after we got married, so I've been there 53 years.
I appreciate from the Yates Baptist Church that we always had good leadership, and there was always loving people going there, and I think that's did a lot for our family.
I too like the camaraderie that we have at church. I like the fact that we have a lot of families that go there and have gone there for many years. It's kind of become a second home for us.
The Yates Baptist has been good for us because we've drawn closer through the Lord through the Bible studies that we had years ago with the feasters, and I think that drew us quite a bit closer, and friends also.
Good Sunday school classes, Awana programs. The outreach that our church has had has been very beneficial for both of us. For me, it wasn't one particular person. The biggest impact on my life was the couples small group Bible studies that we had years and years ago. I was new to the Baptist religion. I had been brought up Lutheran, and the interaction with these couples and learning my need to give my heart to Christ through the Bible studies had the biggest impact of anything for me.
That was also my biggest impact, was small group Bible studies, which I think are a very good thing. It keeps draws people closer together. It's a very good thing.
Just the fact that I really do appreciate our church. I appreciate the talent at our church. I appreciate Lori and her faithfulness for the music program. We've been in the choir for a long time. Kevin was in the choir, and it's kind of another little family function as well. And I appreciate Lyle. I appreciate the pastors that we've had that have taught right straight from the Bible. The church I grew up in was a good church, and it was a family church, but it was very ritualistic. And this one has just become a church that just teaches right straight out of the Bible.
I guess that's what I like too, that we have had good preachers preaching from the Bible. Actually, when I was a kid, we had a preacher that came, my dad got sick, and the preacher even came down to milk the cows, which was real impressive to my dad. It was Paul Thompson, years ago. I was probably about 8 years old, and I think I was even telling him it's time to take the milkers off.
And Bob wouldn't go to my church. It was too much standing up and sitting down. So he ended up at Yates.
My name is Rick Farwell. I was born in Olean, New York. And when I was about 13, my dad moved us from the southern tier of New York up to Lindenville. And we started attending Yates Baptist Church then. I was 13 at the time. Mother and father was Richard and Ann Farwell. They were my parents, and so my older sister, and my 2 younger brothers, as a family, we attended Yates Baptist Church starting in '63.
I'm Pam Farwell. I was born in Lyons, New York, as Pam Dudley. Married Rick in 1976, and as a result of that, we started attending Yates together.
Well, I attended Yates from '63 till about 68 when I graduated from high school. Then I went to Florida for 2 years. Graduated from college and came back and still attended Yates Baptist. And then I joined the Army in '72 and was away for a couple years, and then came back to Yates Center, or Yates Baptist, and still attended there, married my wife Pam, and
We're there until 2005, when we moved
we
to
were
Pennsylvania.
there raising our entire family. We had 6 kids, raised our kids in the church there at Yates, and they were all,
Baptized there.
yeah, I was baptized there when I was 16, and then our kids were all baptized there at Yates too.
Yep.
And now we're living in Pennsylvania. We moved down in 2005. So,
But it's still
but we
home
do enjoy
church.
coming back to the home church.
When I moved there, or we got married and I started attending there, it was just like they were my family. They accepted me just like I was family and had been there forever.
Many, yes, more than I can mention. Probably my best friends came out of that church. To tell you something a little special, my whole life I flew for my whole life for a living, and Dwayne Hauser was the pastor there. Came in about '66, I think, and he gave me my first airplane ride, and that just was a joy to me, and I've loved flying ever since. So thank you, Dwayne, for that.
I have lots of good memories. The kids growing up, and I can remember writing in my journal when the kids were teenagers and things weren't always easy. Rick wasn't home a lot, and just being very thankful for the friends that my kids hung out with from church mostly. That's who their friends were, and it was an unsettling time in the world, and I was happy with the friends that my kids had. I loved hearing Grandpa Farwell sing at church, and I like that has been passed on to generations, and now my husband and my kids and my grandchildren are singing on Christmas, especially when they sing Ring the Bells. Oh, I love doing that.
What did you do?
I was the organist. Dorothy Cooper was when I first started attending, and she got to the point where she grew old and it was not easy for her, and she wasn't always remembering what to play, so I don't remember exactly how I got on that duty, but it was about when Hannah was little, so it was 1981 or 2, and I played until we left in 2005, and I still get to play when I come back. Lots of memories, especially with Joanne Baker. She loved to play with me. She would play the organ and I would play the piano, but she just loved playing with me.
A lot of good memories at Youth
Yes.
Center.
I love coming back, seeing kids growing up and then turning into parents and grandparents and the next generation coming along. It's just great that that church has just preached the gospel for so many years and it impacted people.
Yep, and all 6 of our kids, I feel strongly that they're all committed to Jesus Christ, and they're raising their families for Christ also.
This is Amelia. Amanda is my oldest daughter, and this is her little girl, Amelia, who's staying with us for the weekend.
My name is Gilbert Kane. I was born in town of Yates, 1935. I started attending here when my wife passed away in 2015. It'll be 7 years, May 2nd. And it's all due to Pastor Lyle coming to the house when I never knew him. Tammy Bentley was the home care for hospice. She called him, and within 15 minutes he was at the house. It really set an impression on me. I think he had the decency. I've never met the man before. And I appreciate everything that's been done. And it started out with Paula Courser, getting my wife set up with hospice, and then Tammy Bentley. From Tammy Bentley to Pastor Lyle, and I'm still going. I appreciate everything that's been done. Appreciate the people here. You couldn't ask for a better bunch of people, more thoughtful people. We never came to this church. They put on a luncheon after my wife's funeral, which it astounded some people. Friends of ours from the Catholic Church in Medina said they couldn't believe it, that they put on such a good meal for her, and even seeing that we never attended here. And so that was my biggest, the people. Everybody's so friendly and so sincere. I don't know what more I can say, just, that's a big word in my mind, sincere. No, nothing fake about it. Roger Breeze, he was a good friend of mine, and I missed him. Gordy Grimes is another one. Bernie Froman, of course we all sat together at church. We saved that little space for Roger. And it's just everybody, you know. And the people, it's unbelievable, the people here, how friendly they are, and I repeat myself, but I can't get over it. I appreciate this church so much. And Wednesday nights I have a ball. Really appreciate Wednesday nights. I help getting the meals ready on Wednesday nights and take the money. It's just a pleasure. It's not a job. I look forward to it every Wednesday night. Disappointed when the season ends. Can't wait hate to see fall come, but the kids are back. I enjoy kids. We never had kids, so we always enjoyed kids. So.
Carolyn, I'm 10 years old and I was born up in Rochester, but I've lived in Lindenville my whole life. I love to ride ride horses and read books. I also love to sing. I like the choir and singing songs. I also like junior church and family night. I've sung in the choir like once or twice. Yes, but we usually don't get ready in time for my mom to bring me, so. I really like the tea parties that Mrs. Kreischer holds during family night. It's always fun, and I like VBS. That's always fun too. Well, it's definitely brought me closer to God, and I really like going there. It's really fun.
I'm Paula Courser. I was born in Albion. I moved to Lindenville when we were married. When the church that we were attending became more liberal, we started looking for another church. Some of our friends that we were attending Bible study with and fellowshipping with were members of Yates Baptist, so we decided to try there. I've been attending Yates for about 40 years. I appreciate raising my family at Yates because there were so many activities for my children. They were able to attend VBS, Awana, youth group. I was able to go on a couple mission trips. One of them I was able to attend with my daughter and one of my granddaughters to the Dominican Republic, and that was a life-changing experience. The spiritual teaching, the music ministry, and the believers at Yates have all been a great part of my life, drawing me closer to God. I remember coming to church Sunday mornings, and Ken Neal would greet everyone with a hearty, welcoming handshake. I love that man, and I love the seniors in our church that have been a blessing to my life my whole time I've been at Yates. Yates is family.
My name is Sharon Perkins. I was born in Niagara Falls, New York. I grew up in Lewiston, which is probably about an hour from here. And I ended up in this area of Niagara County when I married my husband Michael in 1992. Well, we attended a different church up until about 2004, and my children were maybe 8 and 10 years old, and it just seemed like their needs were not being met through that church. So we began a search for a different church. We attended various churches in this area to check them out, and we attended Yates and found that to be the most hospitable one and friendliest, and one that we really thought we would enjoy. So we began attending there, and after a short time period we joined. We've been at Yates Baptist since 2004, probably around 18 years or so. I appreciate the friendliness of all the people, the acceptance that we find, and that people are encouraging and will challenge us in our spiritual walk with the Lord. I think of, in particular for me, the women's Sunday school class has done a lot to help me draw closer to the Lord. It brings up topics about my personal walk that are challenging and encourages me to make changes and question things and search my soul. Oh, there's so many from Yates, everyone really, but in particular it's been some of the older women, I think. Wilma Bentley, Colleen Smith, her husband Dick, Brad and Donna Bentley. They're always there, they're always encouraging. And I think for my daughter, some of the teen women have been really encouraging to her. The Feller girls, the Katie Martin, and Lexi, used to be Nesbitt, have really helped her in her walk with the Lord too. I just appreciate all the people of Yates, and I just think it's a real loving, welcoming place. We met the Wilsons there. Bill had coached our son and daughter in summer recreational swimming, and when we first came, they immediately recognized him and felt welcome there by that. And I just think that really is typical of all the people at Yates. Just a very welcoming, hospitable, wonderful church.
Okay, Harold Scribner. I was born in Rochester, New York. We'd been around to different churches in Lindenville, and quite a few years back in the 80s, we came to the Baptist church, and we kind of liked it. We liked everything about it, and we stayed for a while.
My name is Eloise Scribner, and I was born in Albion, New York, and I went to the Presbyterian church all my life, and then when Harold and I were married, we also went to the Presbyterian church, and we raised our kids, some of the time, we raised them at the Presbyterian church. And then when things got really different at the church, why then we came to the Baptist church, and we were there for quite a while, and then we had our kids there, and we were in with the Awana group. And when I have a special memory of the Baptist church because I was saved there. One night we had I don't know whether it was a revival or whether it was just a missionary at the church, but it was wonderful. I mean, I can't say enough because it was just wonderful. So the Baptist church has a very special in my heart. It's special, and we've been there 10 years now.
Well, we also can say Mr. Feaster's Bible study and church, I mean, that was fantastic. That was a church in itself. We enjoyed that immensely. It's the, right now, it's a fellowship. It's the, when we did come back to the church this time, the minister, we introduced us, Harold and Eloise Scribner, and we didn't think too much about it. We came back the next week, and Lyle called us by name, and we're going, wow, this is really something, you know?
Yes.
And the people greeted us, and we came home that day, and we said, we're back home. We're where we're supposed to be. And we will be there until the good Lord takes us. Well, I really feel that our Sunday school and the minister and what they preach and the way they preach it, and being open-minded, especially in Sunday school, we're not afraid to ask what we need to ask. We're not afraid if we have a question. We're not afraid people will answer questions. Sometimes the Bible study that we're supposed to be teaching goes out the window and we're on another subject, but that's because people need to feel that. They need to feel that they're in the church and people care about them. And Baptist Church is a church that cares.
And to add to that, I feel so comfortable at the Baptist church. When we first went the second time around, and we've been there, what, 10 or 12 years? It doesn't seem possible. But the time goes by, and as we got older, you know, we appreciate the friendships and the prayers and the being able to call somebody and, you know, and ask for prayers, and you'd feel comfortable sharing the whole situation with somebody. And I just can't say enough for everybody that's in the church. I mean, I feel comfortable with everybody that's there. And
Well, I think I think we'll always remember Lyle, the pastor. He's just a special person. He's always been part of us, and he's just a down-to-earth preacher, down-to-earth teaching, and whatever, I think we'll always remember him as the great preacher of the church. Absolutely.
Oh.
If you're in church and you ever feel you need a good hug, come and see us, because we're good huggers. I just think all in all, I think a church that's been around for a couple of 100 years speaks for itself.
Yes.
Amen.
My name's Jesse Farwell. I was born in Albion here, and I've gone to Yates Baptist Church my whole life.
I'm Andrea Farwell, Jesse's wife, and I was Andrea Marshall, and I grew up in Monroe County and then came to YBC once Jesse and I were married, actually a little before that.
Ooh, that's 36 years for me.
I've attended Yates for 5 years, about 5 years, 5.5. I appreciate that you do feel like family at Yates. I love the size of the church, and that we all, or if you would like to have a job or a task, that you have one and there's a place for everyone. So I feel involved, I feel wanted and needed, and yeah, I just love that because Jesse grew up at the church. Everyone feels like family, and extra sets of grandparents and aunts and uncles, and that we all have our role at church.
I appreciate that we don't waver from the Bible. Being there my whole life, I've grown, my whole faith life has grown there. And just the examples from people I see.
I guess just like Jesse said, that they don't waver from the Bible. The truth is the truth, and I know that I'm gonna come and I'm gonna hear about Jesus Christ, and I'm gonna hear about God, and I'm gonna hear the Word, Scripture. It helps me. Yates Baptist is a place where I know that I'm gonna get the truth, and hopefully in the fellowship of other believers.
I have many memories, and I can't nail down one special person, but I have lifelong friendships there, whether it be the Atwaters or Lori in the choir. Love singing in the choir every week.
Yeah, I love choir also. Lori has been just a faithful friend since the very beginning. Genoa Atwater, which it's so neat with Ashley and Levi and Genoa and Sam, and that they grew up together at church and are coming through, and I just feel like I'm one of them. I kind of have joined along with that. I love all the harvest suppers. That's a really, and even though I'm a trustee's wife, so I have to help make the suppers.
She dreads the harvest supper, but she loves them.
I do. I like it, and it's a really great memory. It's always really hot, and there's always a lot of food, and there's always good entertainment. I just love being there for those events.
The morning that Andrea showed up at Yates Baptist Church,
I was doing a Bible study retreat with a bunch of women.
I knew she was coming. I tried to sit with her, but she wouldn't let me.
It wasn't that I wouldn't let you sit with me. I was with a bunch of ladies. I thought you wanted to sit with where you normally would sit, but the whole time I looked at you up in choir and I thought, oh, he's handsome. Maybe I will marry him and go here. And now you hold my hymnal for me, and that's what I've always dreamed.
I'm going to leave this in.
This Sunday we actually have Marshall being dedicated, and no matter how big churches get and how contemporary and exciting different churches get, I know that I believe that Yates Baptist Church is such a fantastic place to raise my kids. I love that they are there. I love that they have friends that I believe will be lifelong Christian friends, and that's really exciting for us. So this is one of 3.
Esther Foss, Foss, Baker. I was born in Lindenville, sure. There was a horse barn out there. People came by horse and buggy to church. That's why they had to have a place for them while the service was going on. We'd stay for our Sunday school, and it seemed to me we used to have to go up some stairs to get up there. And look, we didn't have plumbing in the church. When we first went, you had outside not bathrooms, but what do you call it?
Outhouses?
Outhouses. No. And I know that when they decided and it came time that you could get the nice rotten sinks and seats and everything, I know specifically that our family did help because we thought it was a real necessity, and see, we didn't have electricity or anything. He was a wonderful preacher. It wasn't that, but he was baptizing, and the lady, and I don't know what her name was anymore. I don't know who it was, but she wasn't a dainty little person, and when he tipped her back, both of them were gonna drown. And so a couple of the trustees were back there, and so they jump in because of course the lady, I think, was a little plumper than the minister that was baptizing her, and when he put her back, and of course her clothes got wet and everything, and she's flopping around, and everybody was afraid somebody was gonna pass away. And I loved the stained glass windows, and I remember a lot of the weddings or funerals of family, and of course Gordon and I were married there, and Uncle Jack Baker, who was a minister, helped our pastor, like when the pastor was singing. He was a guest pastor. I can't think of his name, and he had a heart attack right there in the church, and I got up because somebody jumped up, and they went up to the Catholic Church to get the doctor to come back down because he passed out and I went up to the minister's wife. I got up out of the pew and said, "Now, do you have some medicine with you to take?" And she said, oh no, we couldn't do that in church. I should say every woman had to wear a hat, and they were always bigger hats, you know. Of course, a lot of them had buns too. Okay, and the pews, that was easy if you had a kid in your lap to reach up, and here's a lady sitting there with something pretty, and then through it. Okay. Needless to say, the whole service was really interrupted because the poor mother she felt terrible. Some people were sort of laughing because this kid was really good at picking flowers.